everybody has a past, and everybody has a family tree. And within that family tree, there's a history. And America has a past, it has a history. It has a history of one generation building upon another generation and building upon that generation. In a sense, that's what I'm kind of doing. I'm using some of the materials that America has produced, like Amy said, perhaps a sign or a box or a tin or a tool, or even a rake, something that I've found, but that material has a past. It has a sequence of events that's happened to it before I even find the material. Some of the materials I've used date back to even 1780. So in order for me to make a piece, there's sort of confluence has to happen as if 2 or 3 rivers come together. And so in one river, it would be like someone has to manufacture the item, the artifact, and then it has to have a history. And perhaps that item, that artifact is passed down to a next generation. Perhaps it's sold, perhaps it's discarded, perhaps an antique dealer picks it up, or a person who sells things in flea markets. And eventually I find that material. I purchased that material after it's had its history, its ownership of numerous people and numerous signs of wear. And then I take those images and I put them back into my studio, and they come together with these other rivers of influence of media and material. So all my material is there for me to work with, and it influences what I do. So I don't really think of an idea and sketch it out and then try to make it. I just look at the material and I get started from that. And what I've done with my artwork is I've frozen that time. I've created a new space for it. So I've stopped that movement from purchasing to selling to using to actually turning it into artwork. Like whenever you dig a hole in the ground and you get more dirt out of the hole, you can't put it back in the hole. It's like when you start taking apart boxes and signs and deconstructing other materials, it creates more space, and it takes up more space than originally. And so I have sort of organized things by color. So I'll have different boxes that I created where it's yellow metal or red metal or green wood or yellow wood. And then they kind of fill these little boxes, but as I make something and I start deconstructing it, I'll have the leftovers. And that's when some of the most exciting pieces come about, because it's all those little leftovers that get kind of scattered around the room that I'll just walk by to, get a drink of water or clean a brush or something and realize, hey, like this piece of metal here could go with this piece of metal and that could go with that. And I've got a whole new journey ahead of myself. So one piece kind of inspires multiple pieces is what I'm saying. And again, they're generally not from the same source. Most other paintings might have 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 to 10 different sources of things that had to happen at the right time for me to find them and find a way to put the puzzle together. Yeah, this one is the makings of a war. And what I think about this piece is, like, my brother and I used to play games of war when we were children. 50 years later, my brother, as a present to me, gave me the little little section that's in the middle. And that's a little cast for a person to pour like plastic or a goop in, so you could make these little elements of war. And he challenged me to make something with that. So I thought sure, I'll accept that challenge. So I found other things that related in terms of color, patina, or shape to surround with that. And I called that makings of a war. A lot of my works of art have some sort of unit of measurement in them. I probably purchased over 100, 150 different slide rules. And I even have a slide rule we have that's 8 feet long, but I'm not going to deconstruct that one because it's too beautiful.